Welcome back. You're still watching Every Primetime News on this Wednesday, and this particular night, it's all martyrs, the Kenya Kcse actually, and with me, as I said earlier, we have two principals and a chairman for the Kenya Secondary School Leaders Association, and we have the #1 student in the whole of Nairobi. He is called Baxter Odongo Adero. And just before we went on a break, we were trying to tackle some issues and maybe come up with solutions on why we had less numbers, or rather the improvement was not that big when it came to having more A's this year as compared to, we only added one more number, rather. We have 142 students who got an A this year as compared to 141 students who got an A last year. So back to you, gentlemen. We were looking at maybe the challenge is the different subjects. And you were saying, sir?
Yep. You see, in computing the final grade, there are those compulsory subjects, especially the languages, Kiswahili, English, then we have the mathematics, then we have the sciences. If you listened to the minister, he did mention that we had 13 subjects that improved, and particularly mentioned mathematics and English. And this is very significant because last year the two subjects did not do well. But then with those two subjects doing well, we expected that their other subjects should have maintained the performance. If that would have been maintained, then the number of A's would have been more. It means, therefore, some of the subjects, and especially the sciences, must have been performed below how they performed last year. And this therefore led to even a reduction of those A minuses, in my view. And therefore it is important now for us to start asking ourselves, identifying these subjects that did not do well, and look for intervention measures that can make the subjects pick up again. For example, is it lack of teaching learning materials? Is it poor pedagogical methods that we could be using as teachers? Is it management? So that we look for intervention measures. For example, we now need to mount maybe workshops again for the teachers. We would now need to find ways of instilling confidence of the students in those subjects. Because if this confidence is low, then you'll find that the performance also does not do well. Okay. So we need to find out if mathematics and English did well. Definitely there should have been a shift in the results. Okay. But now that we notice that shift was not very significant, then there must be some subjects that are key in computing of these results that may have made the results go a little bit down.
All right, Mr. Indimoli, before I allow Mr. Wabribe to talk, there has been a cheating, the 10 schools which were accused of cheating and their results have been held. Then actually hostage is the right word to use. What are your sentiments on that particular action?
First, I would appreciate the action of withholding and not naming the schools. Why? Because the minister clearly stated further investigations are still going on. They are going to invite other experts so that they can get concurrence before they punish. This has two effects. One, it will make the students and the teachers appreciate that actually a due process was done before we were punished. But if, let's say, the minister named the schools, and then later it is found that maybe there was no enough evidence, then it waters down the minister's statement, and it will therefore be open to a lot of criticism. So the move to withhold results is okay. He has not yet cancelled. He'll cancel them. We will know whether he has cancelled when he makes his report on January 18th, as he stated.
All right. To you, Mr. Wabrera, when it comes to matters education and what needs to be done better so that we can achieve even more. Not that what we achieved is nothing. It is something to celebrate. But what are your takes on achieving even more?
He's my chairman. Chairman perhaps is talking about it in a general view. Yeah. But I think, like he said, when you asked him if he expected to do well, and he said yes. Some schools, for my school, for example, will not be talking about facilities. We have the facilities.
All right.
We have the facilities. The arrangement, the structure in the school is such that the students are provided with a learning opportunity. They are not forced to study. They are just, the opportunity is there. They are exposed as much as possible, so they see the need. In terms of subjects, it's a boys' school. Light Academy Nairobi is a boys' school, and they don't have problems in most of the subjects. And when Dr. Matiang'i says maths improved, English last year we also didn't have an A. This year we have several A's. They worked for it, and the staff worked for it. I think generally, like he said, apart from the teaching methodology and the facilities, I think the staff, wherever they are, the principals like him, are looking at what else can be done. It happened last year, it has happened this year, and all of us are putting everything in place. And I think as we go forward, we are going to get better grades.
All right.
What we didn't do, people are going to do. And everybody will be studying the results, and like he says, why the A's went down. Is it in particular subjects? What brought down as the mean was being worked out? So that's what we'll be looking at, and we'll need to go in there and do a little better.
All right. I'll be coming back to you, Braxton, but you mentioned about it being a boys' school, and congratulations for coming out as, again, I'll keep on saying congratulations, because I know, I went through 844, ladies and gentlemen, and I know it is not a joke. Now, you've mentioned girls.
Boys.
And girls, no, you mentioned boys, but you also mentioned the girls. And it's very clear that us ladies, good job. Us ladies are doing a good job and when it comes to matters education. And for the longest time, we have been pushing the girl child, and we've been pushing the Inua Dada. It's been a serious motion of support and help when it comes to the girl child. Do you feel like the boy child is being neglected at some point?
The boys themselves do feel. Last year, when we had our Kenya Secondary School Heads Association conference, we did invite the president of the Student Council. And in his remarks, he was talking of the boy child is crying. It took all of us by surprise. And he said that there has been so much attention given to the girl child to the level that the boy is being forgotten. Even in the home, if a young boy is found crying, the parents will say, well, stop crying,
be a man.
Be a man. Yeah. If I started crying here, everybody will, people will not bother. They'll even wonder what is wrong with this man. But if my wife started crying, everybody will stop. The children will stop. I will stop to try and find out why are you crying.
Yes.
So time has come that we need to change and listen to the boy crying. Let us see what is this that they are going through. Why do we ignore when we see them feeling low? We don't go ahead and try and inquire and question. You see, some of these things, it's important that we should start looking at them so that we are not found off guard, and then we start looking for programs. Now it will be Inua, it is Inua Dada, sasa itakuwa Inua Kaka. So before we reach there, let us identify early enough. And the boys themselves should help us
in identifying.
Because,
you know, my sentiments are, as much as we are trying to push the Inua Dada initiative, and which has been pushed very well, by the way, I mean, case in point, the results that have just come out, you're saying girls are topping this. But if you look into the future, the same girls that we're celebrating and forgetting about the boy child is the same boy child that will need to marry these same girls. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Agreed. Now let's take a look at the 844 syllabus that is being changed. What are your sentiments on that, and is it a good idea?
Well, having looked at the needs assessment of the country, and I talk from the point of view that I happen to be privileged to sit in some of those meetings. It was important that we now move from examination-oriented system of education to a system of education that is competent-based, system of education that is able to identify the talent that is within each and every child, and see how this can be nurtured.
All right.
And to me, is a good way to move. Of course, various structures will be put in place so that we are able to identify each child, whether they are going through the talent school or whether they are going through the STEM school to do the sciences, mathematics, and whatever, technology. So to me, it's a good idea. We currently, there has been a lot of piloting at the primary level.
Yes.
Now, in some sections, we have teachers at primary level undergoing preparation for how this can be impacted. The only challenge is getting feedback from the pilots.
All right.
What is this that they have found? But the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development has the feedback. They are working on using that feedback. But what the general public would wish to see is this feedback should have been made public. Public,
of course.
So that people ventilate and add more value to it.
All right. For you heading a school that is doing extremely well, once again, I mentioned you're doing extremely well, yeah? What is your take on the changing of a curriculum?
I think, like he said, a lot has been done, piloting has been done, and I will tell you, the teachers, as much as we had people questioning the system, but the teachers are up to the task. Given time and in-service courses and programs, it will be taken up, and the teachers are actually ready.
They're ready for this?
Yes.
All right. So it is a system that we should be welcoming with all smiles. Okay. I'd like to close this down with you. Mr. Baxter.
Just a final comment before Baxter makes his final remarks. Something about, like I said, Baxter's mom is here. Light Academy is, to some extent, it's not a privileged school, but a special school in some kind, because the management goes out of its way to support bright and needy. We had 100 students this year in Form 4, and believe you me, 50% of them were actually sponsored, fully sponsored by the school. And not just that, they are also exposed. So we're not just preparing students who are going to pass with A's, but as he sits here, like he said, a disciplined boy who is ready to go into the society and be helpful to the society.
You're ready for this life. Even as you get into doing medicine, we shall be here to support you. And I'll be more than glad to interview once again so you can tell me how it is in university. I don't think it's the same with high school. But, but please do. As I said, I understand you have been sponsored into Light Academy. And while you didn't let your sponsors down, you did a very good job by coming up tops. So tell me about how a life is with an A grader. Being an A grader, what does it take to be an A grade student actually?
Like I said, first of all, you have to believe in God.
Of course.
Then hard work.
What does hard work entail?
Hard work.
Clarify for us what hard work is.
Work means you are willing to study by yourself. You don't want to be forced to study. You take it upon yourself to go to class, put in some extra effort. That is what I call hard work, according to me.
All right.
Yeah.
And what advice would you have for your fellow mates who just finished KCSE, or the ones who are going to do KCSE next year?
For the ones who have just finished like me, I would like to encourage them to remain focused in their lives. They should not stray and engage in bad vices like using drugs, something like that.
What?
And for those who are going into Form 4 now, I'd like to encourage them to be determined, to be disciplined, and to, like I said, to be hardworking. Because without hard work, you cannot pass.
It is nothing. What type of student is he from your eyes?
Him,
Yeah, what type of student was he? Sorry.
A good student, generally. Hard work, disciplined, and just an all-round student.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'd like to let our viewers know that Baxter Odongo Dairy's mother is in studio, and I must tell you, she is happy. We were just not able to have her on set, but she's a lady who's full of celebration and jubilation. And again, I will say congratulations. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming and maybe giving us more insight on this KCSE matter, and you finding the time to come and give us advice and allowing us to celebrate you. It is the season to be jolly as well, so I hope you're ready as you continue with your good news. Please be happy the rest of the December, because you did a good job.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes. Now, that was just it about our interview. Moving on and getting into